Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got an episode that's going to talk all about Summer League and what we've got going on regarding that. So, from the Hawks' second Summer League game this season, winning in dominant fashion. We're going to talk about that. We're going to break down the 98-80 victory over the Phoenix Suns and shine a light on some rising stars in the front court who really made their presence known and have throughout the first two games just in general, and really what we can expect from them moving forward, especially in tonight's game. We're going to talk about Kobe Buffkin's struggles offensively. He had a good game in that first game, but he got to the line a lot, and that's where the majority of his points came from. But in this second game, he really struggled from the floor. So we're going to break that down and how fans are really reacting. And let's just say it's not good. We're also going to look ahead to, like I said, today's matchup against the Houston Rockets. So the Hawks are playing a back-to-back in Summer League. Those still happen in Summer League, apparently. So we're going to talk about that and kind of break down the matchup and what to expect when the Hawks tip off against the Houston Rockets at 4:30. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it and talk about how on Sunday afternoon at Cox Pavilion, the Atlanta Hawks improved to 2-0 in the Las Vegas Summer League. So they're definitely off to a really hot start, and it's been fun to watch and pay attention to. They got that second win with a commanding 98-80 win over the Phoenix Suns. In that first game, it was definitely more close. The Hawks kind of went on their run in the second half, but not today. Not yesterday. The Hawks actually kind of went out the gates in a dominant fashion. So, like I said, it wasn't just a win. It was a show of complete control from the opening tip. There really was no doubt in my mind that the Hawks were not going to come out with that victory. They jumped out to a 30-17 lead after the first quarter. After a 13-0 run, it was actually 17-17, but then, a couple guys went to the bench, and the second unit really applied the pressure and was locking down defensively. Kobe Johnson did a great job defensively. They were getting out in transition, and they were converting, and that really led to them having a 13-0 run, putting them up 30-17 to end the quarter. So, it showed far more cohesion and urgency than they did in game one against Miami, even though they still got out and got a win. They definitely looked like they had more control from the opening tip. So even when Phoenix kind of attempted to mount a comeback in a way, trimming the lead to 6 points in the third quarter, Atlanta still never lost its grip on the game and remained in full control. The defense really locked in, and the offense stayed consistent, just stuff you want to see from these young guys in Summer League. It was a performance that suggested the team is beginning to gel and fast. I definitely loved the improvements we saw from that first game to that second game, not just in really controlling the tempo, but just really the overall pace of the game, and really, kind of the defensive instincts that we've seen out of the young guys. I mean, most of this team can guard multiple positions, and you had guys flying around. I mentioned that they were great on the offensive glass and really defensive glass for that matter in that first game. That only improved. We saw several guys add more to their rebound total after that second game. So just really stuff you love to see. There's a lot of effort, and this is a team who could win the Las Vegas Summer League. I'm not ruling that out. It would be cool to see these guys get it done, but we're really going to find out what they're made of today in Houston. So let's talk about the front court specifically. And, that's where Atlanta won this game. That was the clear difference between the two teams, especially with the Suns not having Kamal Malawach or Ryan Dunn. That certainly makes a difference, and that's probably I'm not going to say it's the reason that these guys had such dominant games, but it certainly helped them because there's not these dominant forces down low. So starting with Jacob Toppin, the Hawks actually recently signed Jacob Toppin to a two-way contract just right before Summer League. And his presence has been felt everywhere throughout these first two games, but especially just last night. So his energy on the perimeter and really down low kind of disrupted Phoenix's early rhythm. He got out to an absolutely hot start, made his first four shots. He started off 4 for 4 from the field and 2 of 2 from three. He was knocking down tough shots. I mean, both of his threes that he made early were on it was on the catch and shoot, but he was moving. He was falling back, and it was just tough shots, and he was hitting them, and he was looking real confident out there. So, the Suns hit the first hit 4 of their first 5 shots, so they looked hot early, but Toppin and the Hawks defense really slammed the door shut on any potential runs there and really kind of locked in. So, Toppin's stat line was 15 points, 8 rebounds, and a steal, but that hardly tells the whole story, as that hot start really controlled Atlanta's momentum and is the reason that they were able to maintain a lead like that. So Toppin played with hustle and communicated well defensively. He made life difficult for Phoenix's forwards and guards. So in a system where Trae Young is going to need very good defenders around him, Toppin's showing should put him on the radar as a very deep rotation option. Obviously, we don't expect Toppin to get a lot of minutes next season as an actual member with the organization. However, we definitely have better two-way options this season than we did last season, and if any injuries were to happen and we had to go deep into the rotation for a few games, Toppin isn't looking like a bad choice. And honestly, I think the Hawks should consider not shutting him down for Summer League, but giving him today off. And we're going to talk about that more later. Then there's Asa Newell, who obviously the Atlanta Hawks acquired from the New Orleans Pelicans in the draft day trade that sent Atlanta Newell and the 2026 unprotected first for the rights to Derek Queen. So the rookie first rounder is continuing to impress. So he had a solid first game. It wasn't anything special, but he showed some elite defensive traits and didn't really shoot the ball too well, but was getting good looks. This time he capitalized on those good looks, and he didn't get off to a great offensive start, but he was great defensively the whole game, and over the course of the game, his shot just kept falling, and he looked awesome. So he notched his first quote-unquote professional double-double. He had 18 points, 11 rebounds, and a block. After a quiet first half, like I said, Newell really exploded after the break. So what stood out, though, was his composure. I mean, Phoenix defenders tried to speed him up in the paint, but, I mean, Newell never panicked. He took his time, and those are some, like I said, he found his angles, and he converted with efficiency, and, he got to the wing, he got to his spots, and the guards were finding him, and he's doing a great job as a big who can also handle the ball, because that opens up a lot for the offense and allows for not only him but for the others to score and get good looks. So I mean, the kind of poise that this 19-year-old has is great. It's someone who is going to translate well into the NBA just because of the real professionalism that he has displayed. He looked so comfortable out there last night, and I'm interested to see what he can do tonight against the Houston Rockets, who are 0-2, but are certainly going to be looking for their first win and might apply a little more pressure defensively. So I mean, if Newell's touch and timing continue to develop, he could be a true asset for the Hawks this season, not just in the future. I definitely expect him to be the main backup four going into next season. That it's kind of been a debate among Hawks fans whether it should be Newell or Gay. I think it should go to Newell just based off of the his ability to contribute right away, and also what we're kind of building towards for the future. I mean, he's a 6'11" power forward, and honestly the difference this didn't make all the difference, but in that first game he was playing center, and the Hawks made a little switch to move him back to his original position, the power forward. He just looked a lot better, a lot more comfortable, and that's where I really see him long term. I mean, he was 4 of 5 from 3. That's not something that you can teach. I mean, this is just a great shooter, and honestly, the Hawks caught a lot of heat just for Newell's supposed inability to shoot from 3 because they looked at his percentages at UGA last season. But I've always said Newell's shot and motor and just the form and confidence to pull, he was never going to fail from deep. And it's like I tweeted yesterday, it's good to see him just being that confident in it in Summer League this early and knocking down at that high of a rate. So we're going to see if he can replicate that tonight. I'll definitely be on the lookout for it. But shout out to Asa Newell. He had a great second game and has put together a very solid Summer League. So not everything was all great. And that brings us to Kobe Buffkin, who had a good first game. He definitely shot poorly. However, he still was a very big contributor, and he got to the line a lot, and that's where the majority of his points came from. And drawing fouls is a skill, don't get me wrong, but his shot has struggled in all of Summer League over the course of his career, and also in the minutes that he has played in the actual NBA, and his shot continued to struggle last night. So the second-year guard had another rough shooting night, going 3 of 17 from the field. Definitely not good. That's not ideal, and especially following, like I said, a pretty strong performance in Game 1. So despite the shooting woes, though, I'm not going to completely dog on Kobe because he found ways to contribute, and that's what you want to see from a young guard. He dished out 9 assists and did a good job of managing the tempo. Rather than forcing shots, he surveyed the defense and found teammates in good spots. He did put up 17 shots, so I would understand if people would say that he was forcing, but I do think his shot selection was very good. He was getting good looks, and he just wasn't converting, and that it was a little frustrating. However, I like what he's creating. Still, though, some fans are getting restless and are kind of tired of waiting around for Buffkin. There's been online conversations that have been growing about whether Nikola Jurisic, who looked confident and versatile and definitely looked better on the defensive end than he did in game one, deserves a more of a realistic look at the backup point guard spot over Buffkin with the main ball club. I personally think that's a little ridiculous, especially going into next season, but I have seen some people seriously considering it, and so I wanted to know you guys' thoughts. Like I said, it's far too early to make any call like that, but Buffkin's shooting inconsistency does remain a concern, considering what we have seen from him, not just in the summer league, but in the pros. We got to see him start to put the ball in the basket. If he can bounce back and settle into a rhythm, he'll stabilize that narrative a little bit. I mean, his passing and his feel for the game and his defensive instincts are still undeniable strengths, so there's still some real potential with Buffkin. Now, it's just about putting it together consistently, and hopefully he can do something like that tonight against the Houston Rockets. So that really leads us into the Hawks play the Rockets tonight. They're back on the court today for their third Summer League contest, this time against the Rockets at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, just the same time that it was for that first game. It was 4:30 and then 3:30 yesterday, and then, now it's going to be 4:30 again. Atlanta enters at 2-0. Definitely the real advantage over Houston, and Houston's going to be looking for their first win after falling to the Clippers and Pistons in their first two games. It's a quick turnaround for both squads. Both teams are coming off of a back-to-back, so we're going to be definitely a little unsure on who is playing, so rotations could tighten, or key players might sit altogether. I hope they don't, just because it's a summer league, and if some of these bigger names are sitting, it becomes a little less fun to watch, although it's still good to see the guys fighting for rotation minutes. So if Reed Shepherd, who has been absolutely killing it in the summer league, suits up for Houston, and the Hawks continue to decide to roll Cubby Buffkin out, the guard matchup could be one of the best we've seen in Vegas so far, but it's unclear who will actually be on the court. We haven't gotten any sort of info on that. Playing against Reed Shepherd could be a big opportunity for Kobe Buffkin to really prove he belongs. If he's able to shoot consistently tonight and against a guy like Reed Shepherd, who is an underrated defender and definitely a disruptor on that end, and also one of the better players in Summer League, if Kobe can look really controlled and get to his spots and do all the things that we want to see him do against a guy like Reed, it would be a good sign for his confidence and his development. As for the Hawks, though, some decisions need to be made on who they actually play. Should Jacob Toppin and Nikola Jurisic sit this one out to preserve their legs and avoid any risk? I definitely am leaning towards that, while letting Buffkin and Newell play. However, the four guys that are with the main ball club on contracts, it's just going to be up in the air for them. Like I said, Buffkin could seriously benefit from more reps to really work through his shooting issues and also just really get a better feel for the court. And Newell, I just think you got to keep giving him minutes. I'm totally not on team, sit Newell. I don't think I think we've seen enough from him. I'm not getting at that, but I do believe that when you're coming out of college, you need to get as many reps as you can before you enter training camp, because it's a totally different ball game. So the more reps, the better, like I said. And Summer League is all about development and evaluation. So, managing the balance between rest and also opportunity to handle the rock is key. So today's game should give us a little more clarity on, where this Summer League group specifically is headed. If they can advance to 3-0, they've got a real shot at winning the Summer League title. So all in all, it's been a promising start to Summer League for the Atlanta Hawks, with a 2-0 record and several young players standing out and looking like key contributors. The future looks very bright. This has been awesome and encouraging to see, and today's game against the Houston Rockets gives him another chance to just capitalize off that momentum and continue building. So we'll be back tomorrow with a full recap after Game 3, plus more insights into how these Summer League performances could translate into real NBA minutes come October, whether that's a realistic opportunity or not. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single update here on Hawks Latest. We're going to be pushing out videos every single day, so just be sure to be tuned in, because you don't want to miss a single beat here. So until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Zach Langley. Thanks for watching, and go Hawks. I'll see you guys next time.